Good afternoon, modeller. How are we today? I hope you're well, and I hope you enjoy seeing some videos from the shed. This is the place that I spend all of my life building models, all of my life putting together the kits that we get sent in, creating the articles that you read, seeing the models that you see on Facebook or on the forums or anywhere else online that you might see some of my work. You can see that I'm surrounded by all of the things that I need day to day to create what I do, including some of the models that are half finished. Not all of them for my professional world. Some of them are for myself, including the Falk, which I've been building since Christmas, 1/6 CB 750, which my wife bought me, which I'm about halfway through. Still not done yet, working on that. And some of the other models that are part finished, Revell, Halifax in various bits and pieces. Yeah, that's one of those models that seems to have fought me all the way. So currently it's lying there, broken, waiting to be completed. You'll also see a couple of other models that are here by the side of me. Edward's FW1 1972nd scale, and also Edward's 48 scale Messerschmitt 109 G6, the new revamped version, following on from what can best be described as a storm of criticism over the last couple of years, when Edward, now having admitted to using what looks like a wrong set of plans. So it was the wrong scale, shapes were off, details were off. It was a complete disaster for them. But now they've taken the time and the effort to create something that's completely amazing. Beautiful kit, goes together really well. This is my version of it. Kurt Gabler's Red 8 with metal fuselage and grey wings. Really beautiful scheme. Not entirely convinced that it's the way it would have looked during World War II. But I've gone with what Edward say. The result is a truly attractive model of this aircraft. So I'm really pleased with that. You should be able to find some photographs of this online. There are pictures online, there are certainly pictures on my Facebook page. There are also pictures on the forums. But this will form part of an extended look at this kit in Model Airplane International in the next couple of months, following on from the FW190. Hopefully you'll enjoy seeing that and seeing how it goes together. I may, if I've got time, think about doing another one of these. I really like the overall pale blue version of this aircraft, and I think I may do something with that. I'm not entirely sure whether I'll have time, but it would certainly be something that I'd be interested in. It's not a difficult kit to build, very easy, goes together in a couple of days. You can paint it in a couple of days. Really fantastic kit. So you can see all the nonsense around me. Part of the reason why I thought this would be fun to do is to show you what I'm planning over the next couple of months, and maybe even something that I'll blog online rather than creating entirely for work. So I've got a couple of things that I'm likely to be picking. One of which is Revell's boxing of ICM's Dornier 215B5, the Nightfighter version of this aircraft. This is a really nice kit from the looks of things. Not entirely perfect. Having opened the box, I'm not completely convinced by some of the panel lines on the upper wings. They seem a little bit too deep for my liking. The detail across the rest of the kit is really nice though. Looks really good. Hopefully it'll go together well. Along with the basic plastic kit, we have a full set of Edward parts for this. Canopy masks, a zoom set for the cockpit, flaps, plus a full set of etch that includes details to go around the whole airframe, and also a really fine set of aerials for the radar arrays on the nose, which will replace the rather heavy-handed depiction of these items in the kit. So this is a possibility. It's something that I think would look really good, something that I think will build nicely and create a nice feature. How it goes together, time will tell, like anything that's produced these days. Certainly first impressions on looking at the box make me think that this could be a good project and something that will be worthwhile. So what we'll do is I'll put the lid back on this and I'll show you in detail some of the things you can expect from this kit. Okay, so here's the kit in a little more detail. As you can see, it comes in one of Revell's now almost legendary flimsy boxes. Not a big fan of the way that Revell package their kits. It just doesn't seem to say quality when you see something that's this kind of flimsy. However, as we're not reviewing the box and we're only really reviewing the contents, I think we should move on. But it kind of is worth pointing out that when you open the box, you do see a kit rattling around inside something that's 2/3 the size it needs to be. It would be so much better if this kit was packaged so that it was kept inside the box and it was kept so that it doesn't move around. Not great. Some of the parts that were in this kit I noticed earlier on, including some of the, at least one of the mudguards was broken because of transit problems. Not great. I think that's something that Revell really could do with looking at. There's no need for the box to be as big as it is. There's no need for parts to be rattling around inside. The box can be designed to package these things properly. Okay, so we'll move on. Anyway, opening the box, we're presented with a pretty comprehensive kit, including 5 sprues of grey plastic. Now, many of you will know that this kit is an ICM original. It's not one of Revell's. It's been brought in by ICM, so you'll recognise not only the style and levels of detail in the kit, you'll certainly recognise the colour of the plastic. It's very typical of the plastic that ICM used to mould their kit. Looking at it closely, there's plenty of detail inside this box. A lot of the smaller parts are well formed. They've got lots of tiny features that are well reproduced. Moulding quality is across the board extremely good. I didn't find any flash on any of these parts. I didn't find any deformed areas, and even looking along the larger parts, I couldn't really find anything in the way of sink marks. Even along the wing surface, the plastic's really smooth. There's nothing in there that would give me any cause for concern. I mentioned earlier that there were certain things that I wasn't completely happy with. One of them is the panel lines. The panel lines on the fuselage and tailplanes and the fins are definitely finer than those on the wings. It's almost as if they've been designed by two different designers. The same thing you may remember afflicted the Italeri 32nd scale Starfighter, where the back end of the aircraft was fantastic. The rest of the fuselage had really deep panel lines. Same here. Not sure why that's been the case. However, I'm sure with a little sanding here and there, maybe a coat of primer, and then the layers of paint, the panel lines will level themselves out and will look okay across the board. Look, digging a little deeper, there's a full cockpit inside this, with all crew stations replicated, all of the instruments, radios, seating, all of those things are inside. There's some very nice detail on the seats, which I hope you can see here, which looks really good. The interlacing there is really nice. There's also detail of sorts inside the bomb bay. You can't really see that. There's also a fuel cell inside that. Again, I don't think you're going to be able to see too much of that, but everything that you can see, certainly underneath what's a huge piece of glazing for the canopy, will all be on show. You'll be able to see all of that. Along with the internals of the fuselage, the kit also offers 2 engines, which can be shown off by leaving off the upper cowlings. I think that's a really nice touch. Usually if I'm building something like this, a twin engine aircraft, I'll replicate one of the engines, close the other one up. I think that's probably what I'll do in this case. So that's kind of nice. I like the idea that those engines are replicated. There's some nice detail on those as well, including wiring harnesses, that kind of thing. The engines aren't broken down into a million different pieces as well. There's just enough there to excite the onlooker and make it feel like the kit's more comprehensive than it is. As you can see from the parts layout, there's not a lot of pieces in this kit. It's certainly not a 500 parts super kit that's going to take you 6 months to put together. This is probably no more than a week of construction. Even if you were to put a couple of hours into it every evening, I think you'll probably find that it'll go together really quickly. And that's all dependent on the fit, of course. If you're slowed down by some errant joints here and there, well, then it may take a little bit longer. But certainly from looking at it, and certainly from looking at the parts breakdown, I don't see this being a particularly big project, and I certainly don't see it taking very long. We'll see. So we have the kit parts. There's a full set of glazing in here. The glazing is included for other subvariants as well, so it's not just for the B5. The bomber is included on this runner, but the bomber parts aren't included in the kit as far as I can see. I may be wrong, haven't really looked too closely at that. The glazing's superb, it's really thin, it's really clear, and it'll look great on the model. And certainly all of that detail that's included within the cockpit will show through that glazing. Instructions are supplied in Revell's new pictorial style. Along with their new corporate look for the boxing, Revell have revamped all of their instructions, so the instruction sheets are now supplied in this coloured pictorial style. Similar in some ways, I guess, to the way that Lego supply their instructions. I quite like this actually, I think it's much better. I've been a massive critic of Revell's instructions in the past. I've thought on the whole they were woeful. I thought they were badly drawn, they were badly laid out, the directions bordered on the absurd in certain cases, and then when it came to painting the model, the halftone drawings were just terrible. This is much better. Really like the way that Revell have gone about this. The construction sequence seems to be relatively straightforward. There are certain things in here that, having looked at it over the last couple of hours, I would perhaps do differently. There's a section in here that suggests that you put the undercarriage legs, the retraction jacks for the undercarriage legs in place before you close up the nacelles. I think that's a really stupid idea that's going to end up having them broken at the first opportunity. There seems to be enough space within the openings for the wheel bays to allow that to be placed after the model's complete, and I think that's the route I'll take. Other than that, I think that the instructions seem to be, they seem to be well laid out. Quite impressed. Painting instructions are good as well. Once again, and you can't blame Revell for this, the kit only offers paints from Revell's range, and there is no concession whatsoever to accurate references for the colours. I'm sorry Revell, but this is something that you really need to sort out. I appreciate that you're trying to sell your paints, that goes without saying, but it would take you 5 minutes, instead of offering to the modeler that the cockpit is painted in light olive matte, that you could say that the cockpit was painted in RLM02. That would take no time whatsoever. The same with the painting instructions for the camouflage. you offer the idea that the aircraft is grey and green and you pick the nearest matches, but not everybody's going to be able to use Revell paints, not everybody's going to have access to Revell paints. It would be much more helpful if you could offer the correct colours for each of these individual aircraft, and then once those correct colours are on there, modelers will then be able to go out and buy paints that they have access to. Like I say, I appreciate that you're trying to sell your paints as part of the package, but not everybody can have access to Revell's paints. So overall, not a bad kit at all. I haven't taken a ruler to this, haven't looked at it in terms of dimension or shape. This is really the first time that I've opened a box, so you'll excuse me if I'm not too aware of any of the nuances for this aircraft and whether there's anything that's not quite right. No doubt over the next few weeks or months of putting this thing together, I'll find out. Interestingly, I've been supplied with 2 decal sheets in this kit, which is rather nice. Not sure why that is. Thank you very much, Revell. That's very good of you. I'll keep one in the kit, put one away. Maybe they know that my decaling isn't the greatest thing in the world and they've simply supplied me with 2 sets just in case I mess one of them up. More than likely that is the case. So that's the basic plastic kit that we're going to use for this. Very nice, very big box. The sooner I can get that out of my workshop the better. So first stage will be to glue all of the sub-assemblies together, put all of those smaller parts together, put them into a plastic box that I can use to store them. This can go into the recycling and then we can start painting this. I mentioned earlier that alongside the plastic kit I'm going to use some of Edouard's bits and pieces. Now let me make this clear right from the start, there is no need to use all of these parts on this kit. You can use what you want when you want. Edouard's masks, which I've got in my hand now, I think are almost a prerequisite to this. It's worth spending another few pounds on a set of these masks because it cuts down the time needed. They're almost always perfectly shaped and they're a first choice aftermarket product for anything that I build. So that will definitely be used. The landing flaps are interesting. Having used a set of landing flaps on the FW190 that I mentioned earlier, not entirely sure I'm going to use these. They are really fantastic and they look incredible once they're done. However, I'd like this to be more of a relaxing project, and these flaps tend to drive me bonkers. They're not difficult to use, but they are incredibly fragile, and having used them on the 190 and found that the ribs that you fold into place were extremely difficult to glue into place, needing tiny amounts of super glue, they would break with the least provocation. I'm not the least light-handed of people and these were a real snag, so probably not going to use those. I may change my mind, I don't know. Pretty convinced that the aircraft won't look any worse for not having the flaps down, so that may be a possibility. 2 sets of etch in here. They differ in that this one, the Zoom set, only offers parts for the cockpit. This one offers exactly the same fret of parts, but it also offers tiny details from around the airframe. Only going to use the Zoom part on this, I'm not going to use this. This is another good set. Includes an awful lot of detail for inside the cockpit. One of the things I'm slightly concerned about is that the printing on the panels that go inside the cockpit appear to be dark grey. Now I'm not sure whether or not the cockpit should be dark grey or it should be RLMO2. If it should be RLMO2, then these are going to stand out. So I'll have to have a look into that, and as lovely as they are, if there's a very definite difference between the surrounding cockpit parts and these pre-printed parts, then it's likely I'll avoid using these and only use seat straps, some of the smaller switches, some of the smaller little details, and I'll simply paint the instrument panels and the radio faces and leave the rest alone. Don't know yet. So these are essentially the same set, just with some smaller additions. The final set is this. These are the radar antennas for the nose. As you can imagine, these are going to raise a few eyebrows because they are flat in appearance, whereas the real radar arrays that were on the nose would have had a round section. However, they're so fine and they're so delicate that the compromise from using these from a flat surface to a round surface, it's neither here nor there. So I think I'm going to just go with these. They'll improve the front end of this model 100%. The radar arrays that are supplied in the kit, they're like broom handles. There's no way that they replicate the delicacy of the original pieces. So there's only one thing to do, and that's to use these. I don't really want to spoil the look of the model too much. I already feel that I'm going to be compromising when it comes to the panel lines on the upper wings. So compromising on smaller details isn't something that I'm prepared to do across this build. So these will be used as well. So we've essentially got three sets. We've got the canopy masks, the zoom set, and the Nightfighter radar antennas for the nose. I'll use the kit decals. I'll have to source some aftermarket swastikas for the tail. As usual, the model will be painted with Gunsanyo paints. Tamiya paint's being used for internal sections and smaller details. Weathering will be my usual oil paints and white spirit. It'll be a straightforward project, nice and easy, nice break into what we hope will be an ongoing series of videos for you, and we'll see how it goes. So that's my first video for you. Hopefully you'll enjoy the videos as they start to roll in. This one is just an introduction to see how this looks inside the shed, see how the camera works and how I speak on here. I'm not sure how that's going to work over the coming months. We will see. But I certainly hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you'll stick with us and maybe subscribe to the channel. Keep looking at that. The plan will be to create these videos that will offer insights into the build, but I'm also planning to do other things as well. So if you keep an eye open, keep looking, follow me, you should be able to see what I hope will be some amusing little videos once in a while. I don't intend to create something that's serious and overbearing. All I want to do is create something that's fun to watch and something that you can maybe draw from, maybe some inspiration to have a go yourself, maybe even amuse you on a Friday night when you've got nothing better to do than watch online videos of model makers in sheds. We'll see. I really hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.